Ishmael Johnson is here. Ishmael Johnson, and whenever he shows up on the show, it harkens the return of America's favorite segment. It's Free Money! Free money!
Ish is not impressed with you right now.
College football picks
He
against
does not care.
the spread. And look, looking for a bounce back week.
Which means you had a bad week beforehand,
Oh,
and we like that.
Oh, did I say that? Oh, I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
I just wanted to get Ashley's hopes up because I went 7-2 last week. Woo! Let's go! 7-2, and I came within a point of going 8-1.
I
The only one I
can turn off the computer right
the
now.
only one I
like
whiffed,
I have that power.
The only one I whiffed on was Rice, and I think we all agree we're happy to be
I was
wrong
about to say,
that.
yeah, I think everybody who whiffed on Rice.
Happy to be wrong about that. I missed the Texas Tech TCU game by 1 point.
All right.
Everything else, winners, baby. That's why you come here. You come here for winners. Winners. 7-2. I'm now 52, 38, and 4 on the year. 14 games above 500. I've done the math. We're assuming there's about 28 games left in the season.
Mm-hmm.
There's about 28 games. That conference championship games, bowl games, etc.
Yeah.
Plus the remainder of the regular season. If I get 8 more right,
You're good.
I clinch above 500.
God, that's awful.
8 more. So theoretically, there are 10 games this week. I
not
could
good.
clinch an above 500 finish
What
this
happens
week.
if you go 0-10?
Then I'm still above 500.
Darn it.
But it gets dicey down the stretch.
Okay, good.
In any case,
That
we've
would be
got
nice.
10.
We're hoping for 0-10.
A
then.
whopping 10 games this week. Where are we starting, Ashley?
Up first, we will go. Oh, we might as well start off with Ish here, I guess. Texas State at Appalachian State, 1:30 p.m. on Saturday. App State favored by 29.
The very odd 1:30 kick.
Yeah.
This is on like
normal.
ESPN 3, I think. I'll call for the ball here and just tell you guys, if you're not paying attention, App State is super good.
Yeah.
Like, they are currently fighting for that G5 spot in the New Year's Six.
Mm-hmm.
They are extremely good. And the reason I'm taking App State is not because I think that they're necessarily that much better than Texas State.
They are, but
Well, they are. Okay. Not just because of that.
That is
But
true.
also, App State is in the business of style points right now.
yeah.
Yeah.
And they are not going to take their foot off the gas because they want to go out there and prove that they should get that G7 or that G5 spot. That G5 spot in the New Year's Six. And I mean, look, this is a nightmare matchup for Texas State.
Not ideal.
Texas State
Less than ideal.
Texas State's defense is bad. App State's offense is amazing, and then the reverse is also true. So I can't believe I'm taking any team, and I can't believe I'm laying 29 points. But this, unless there's just something I'm not seeing, this feels like blowout city.
Feels like blowout city. And if I'm Texas State, why don't I just roll out the freshmen? Like,
Yeah.
it's within 4 games. They'll get their red shirts will be fine. I would roll out the guys that were kind of the borderline, like Cedric Case and Jalen Gibson, the guys that they were probably holding out. Especially Case. Like, why not? Who cares?
Yeah,
Like,
there's nothing left to hold back.
right.
And so yeah, you'll probably get a lot of underclassmen in this one. This is 2 teams with distinctly different incentives in this game,
Oh,
and
yeah.
that is bad. That leans towards, to me, App State kind of calling their shot and naming their number. So I'm going to take Appalachian State minus 29. What's next, Ashley?
All right, up next, heading over to the SEC, Texas A&M on the road at Georgia, 2:30 p.m. on Saturday. Georgia favored by 13 at home.
So this is weird, right? Because it's easy to look at this and say, hey, you know what? Georgia's like a top-ranked team.
Mm-hmm.
They are they're gunning for they have legit national championship hopes. They're at home hosting an A&M team. But there is one big time problem for Georgia. And that's that Georgia's offense kind of stinks.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
And the funny thing is, it's by design.
yes.
Like, it's an offense from 2005.
Yes. They're running what they're trying to be is they're trying to be 2009 Alabama
Yeah.
in 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Which doesn't work because we've adapted. And so the big question, look, Georgia's defense is unbelievable.
Yeah.
It's legitimately one of the very best defenses in the nation at every regard. And they are likely going to shut down Texas A&M.
Mm-hmm.
The only question is going to be, can they score enough?
Yeah.
Like, that's kind of the big question. Now, that said, I do think being at home will help.
Mm-hmm.
And I think they're going to be able to get something going. I like Georgia minus 13. I think they're able to. I think they win this game by 2 touchdowns. This game's something like 35-14 or something like. Or I'm sorry, 35-21 or even 28-14. I think they win by 2 touchdowns. I'm going to take Georgia minus 13.
Here's my thing about Georgia. Who's the best quarterback they've played?
Oh, true enough.
Is it Kellen Mond right now? I'll look at their schedule. Okay, Ian Book from
Ian
Notre
Book.
Dame. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
I'm looking at their schedule. So Auburn, Bo Nix, Kellen Mond's better. Kelly Bryant, Mizzou, Kellen Mond's better.
Agreed.
Kyle Trask at Florida, Kellen Mond is better.
Agreed.
Whoever Kentucky has, I don't care.
know. Yeah.
Kellen Mond's better. South Carolina, I don't care.
Yeah.
Kellen Mond's better.
Holinsky or whatever.
Garantano at Tennessee.
Yeah.
Arkansas State, I forgot who their quarterback is. Doesn't matter. Kellen Mond's better. Murray State and
Okay.
Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Like,
I think you're right. That's fair.
so, not guaranteeing anything. I'm not saying, this is obviously A&M covers, something like that. But I'm gonna say that A&M covers, just because.
Because why
One,
not?
they're not going to the offense isn't going to stretch the game.
Yeah.
Like, Georgia wants to keep this.
Mm-hmm.
They want to keep their defense off the field. Kirby Smart's a defensive guy. That's what he wants to do. They're going to run this archaic offense despite having a first-round quarterback. And Jake Fromm, they're not going to let him throw it all. And I think that A&M will be okay enough to generate something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm thinking more of a 10-point win.
Okay.
So-
I can see it.
Yeah.
I mean, look, I've laid out exactly why I can see Georgia
Because I'm looking.
coming out here and sputtering.
Well, I'm looking at these scores
Their
too.
offense stinks.
Notre Dame 23-17. South Carolina lost 20-17. Florida 24-17. Even though they beat Kentucky 21-0. Like, can A&M score 11,
Yeah.
10 in there?
Sure.
Like I think they can.
Sure
so,
enough. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm taking Georgia, though. What's next?
I don't blame you.
Up next, headed over to the Big 12. Both teams looking for a bounce-back win. Texas at Baylor, 2:30 p.m. Saturday. Baylor favored by 5.5 at home.
I
Don't know.
no. I feel like I've got a decent read on this.
All right.
I think this is a big Baylor bounce back. I really like their ability to bounce back right now, simply because,
Texas lost to Iowa State.
well, besides that, I think that Texas. There's a fair argument to be made that this is the best. I think there's a fair argument to be made. This is the best defense Baylor or Texas has seen all year. That the Baylor defense is playing well. I think that this is a team, and I think Baylor, especially being at home. If this game were in Austin, this would be a different story. But I like Baylor by a touchdown in this one. I think they match up actually pretty well with Texas, and I think that there's a big bounce back potential. I think they still understand. I think that they understand that the Big 12, a spot in the Big 12 championship game, is actually on the line here.
Mm-hmm.
They win this game, they book themselves into the Big 12 championship. They get another shot at OU on a neutral site.
Right.
I think that this is an opportunity for a Baylor bounce back. I have very little faith in Texas on the road at this point, and as a result, I'm going to take Baylor minus 5.5.
Yeah, I think I will too. This to me seems like another a 10-point win or something like
Yeah.
that. Like, Texas has been kind of scraping by.
Mm-hmm.
Even when they've won games, they've just happened to have been on the better side of them. I just feel like Baylor's a team that can exploit a lot of what Texas can't do. They're going to be able to control the ball because, again, Texas isn't going to be able to get them off the field. Give me Baylor as well.
What's next, Ashley?
All right. Up next, SMU is headed to Navy, 2:30 p.m. on Saturday. Navy favored by 3.5 at home.
So Navy is also, I should also say, if you're not paying attention to them, Navy is also super good this year.
Yep.
Although the last time you saw them, they were getting driven into the core of the earth by Notre Dame. Look, I don't have to tell you what Navy's about. You know what Navy is about. Navy is entirely comprised of running. They run the ball more than any team in the country. They have they run the ball 86% of the time, and they're super good at it. But the one thing we will say is that if you want to beat this SMU defense, generally speaking, you got to do it through the air. that the run defense for SMU has been pretty solid. Now, it's not just about, like, I think a common misconception that goes into it is saying, oh, well, this team is good against the run, so therefore they will shut down Army, or they will shut down Georgia Tech under Paul Johnson. They will shut down a team that runs the option. Stopping the option is its own thing. It is a skill unto itself, and that's a skill that we don't know if SMU has. I mean, we're going to find out that just because they are 23rd in the nation in rush defense right now doesn't mean that they are necessarily good at stopping the option.
Right. Yeah, it's a totally new game.
It's totally new game.
Absolutely.
That said, the other side of the ball, I think you saw that Navy's defense can be beat by the kind of stuff that SMU does, especially throwing the ball. I not only like SMU plus 3.5, I like SMU outright.
Okay.
I think
Alright.
SMU
I
think they go to Annapolis and win this game. I like SMU plus 3.5.
The crazy thing about like college scheduling and all, because let's relate this back to high school. If say a team has Liberty Hill in district,
Yes.
what are they going to do? Schedule somebody with a slot T in non-district, right? SMU can't waste a non-conference on like Army.
Or didn't
Or Air
Georgia
Force.
State run the triple option or something like
No,
that? Georgia Southern?
Southern ran a version of it.
They ran a version.
And so, but like they can't do that. Like they have to schedule. They have to more strategically schedule that. And so SMU hasn't seen an option. Like they saw. I mean, or do they get Tulane later this year? Yeah, they have Tulane. So they haven't even played a run-oriented team all year. This is going to be kind of a shock to their system. I'm going to go with them outright. SMU outright as well, just because. If SMU gets up, the nature of that offense, the triple option means they're probably not going to be able to come back.
Right.
But
It wouldn't be surprising if it took them a hot minute to get into it.
Yeah, like it's something when you're playing spread offenses the entire year.
It would not.
And then, by the way, this is going to be played. This game is going to be played between the hash marks.
Yeah. This will be the kind of thing that it wouldn't be a surprise if Navy ran out 14-0.
Yeah.
You know what I
Right.
mean? But I also think that SMU scores fast enough that they're going to be able to make that comeback. So I like SMU plus 3.5. What's next, Ashley?
Up next, Mean Green in a must-win game over Rice, 2:30 p.m. Saturday. UNT favored on the road by 5.5.
Isn't this a super interesting game suddenly? 5.5.
Yeah.
5.5.
That's
That if you want to take the trend lines, I get it, right? Rice trending up. North Texas not.
Quite the opposite.
Look, that said, like I still don't think, like, if you give me
Look at the
one
grin
possession
on your
game,
face.
you give me a one possession game for Rice, like, I'll take that. I like North Texas minus 5.5. I think they win by a touchdown. I don't like as bad as North Texas has been, right? As bad as they have been, as disappointing as they've been. Let's not go crazy and say, oh, suddenly they're on the level of Rice.
right.
Yeah.
I think Rice could muck this game up, and so that's why I think that it's a 5.5. But I think I like North Texas minus 5.5 in this one.
Yeah,
I like
line-
it pretty comfortably.
That line's a little disrespectful. Like
I think
it's been a bad year for North
Yes,
Texas.
disappointing, for
let's
sure.
Not sugarcoat it. They've been bad, but that's really disrespectful.
Yeah.
Especially if Mason Fine's good to go, which it sounds like he is. Like,
Yeah, I was just going to say, did the concussion play any sort of part into that line?
Well, that's-
Drawing
so that's
it
the
up?
thing.
I mean, he says he's fine.
Yeah.
Right, which
So,
I think
obviously
that he
he-
is.
yeah.
I just didn't know if maybe with the line already being set, if that...
Right. Yeah, I think they cover comfortably. Honestly, I think this might be a 2-score game. Like,
I think it could
North
be
Texas
too.
has been. I feel like North Texas has been waiting for a team like this, where it's like, okay, can we take the top off any of these defenses? Oh, look, yes, we can.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
Rice on the schedule. Let's
Yep.
go.
and then yeah, the big test will be the following week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I like North Texas minus 5.5. I think they're able to cover that. As much as I think the other thing is that, like, one of two things is going to happen. Like, either Rice is just, like, going to take off and suddenly they're going to be a team you don't want to play late in the season,
Right.
or they're going to be like, we did it. Oh.
Oh,
Oh, how's We're good to go.
Yeah, exactly. They're going to dust off their hands. They're going to get
High
drunk.
fives all around.
It's one of those two. I still like North
good game
Texas.
today. Good game
Yeah.
today.
North Texas.
Everybody
minus
gets an
5.
extension.
Right. Yeah. What's next, Ashley?
Oh, man. Up next, UTEP at New Mexico State, 3 p.m. on Saturday. State favored by a touchdown at home.
Let's ask the question. What happens when the 121st ranked team in SP Plus plays the 128th ranked team in SP Plus.
A barn burner.
This is gonna stink. Don't
or could be great. We don't know.
Don't watch
We
this
don't
game.
know.
Don't watch this game.
No, please don't.
Okay.
Wait, where's this game at?
Las Cruces.
I'll watch it. It's a nice setting.
That's nice.
If they do,
Okay.
if they do the skyline shot, it'll be nice because there's a nice
picturesque.
mountain in the background.
UTEP, 120th in offense, 129th in defense.
Yeah.
Oh.
New Mexico State, 118th in offense, 119th in defense.
Someone's gonna win though. I mean,
That is
Now,
a factual
UTEP
statement.
has an advantage in special teams. And here's why I'm taking UTEP in the points. Okay? Taking UTEP plus 7.
Mhm.
And here's why. Rivalry game.
oh, do you want this camera?
Rivalry game.
There you
This
go.
is the Battle of I-10. This is a game that UTEP's going to get up for. And I think that these games tend to be close and weird. That's the only reason I was going to... If it was New Mexico State minus 7 or plus 7, I'd be taking New Mexico State plus 7. I think that this game is close. I think it's within a touchdown. I like UTEP plus 7. Come on, Miners. This is an opportunity. This is a bad team. A very bad team. A very, very bad team. Please go out there and keep this thing close. I like UTEP plus 7. I also think they're playing a little bit better of late because they're using Deion Hankins. They're using some of these youngsters. They're not afraid of redshirting.
There's a receiver I'm forgetting the name of, and I'm really mad at myself. He's a freshman as well.
Mhm.
But Jacob Cowing.
Yeah.
Yeah, he has 20 catches for 425 yards right now. He's played really, really well now that they've started to roll out the younger
Unleash
guys.
the beast.
Yeah.
I'm gonna. Isn't this segment so dumb? I have to make you pick UTEP versus
Then
New
why
Mexico State.
we do it?
You know why. It's America's favorite segment. We do it for
Oh,
America.
God.
You know what? This is the last time I'm going to do it this season. This is probably the last time I'm going to have a chance to do it this season. Give me UTEP outright.
Let's go!
Give me
Let's
UTEP
go!
outright.
Minor
Rivalry.
stands.
Love it. I love it. We're going Miners. What's next, Ashley?
Oh man.
Let's get sad.
The Lane Train is rolling up to San Antonio to take on UTSA.
The Lane Train.
5 p.m. Saturday. FAU favored by 20 on the road. They
Yeah.
love them some Lane Kiffin down in
Mhm.
Boca Raton. Let me tell you about it.
I don't know if he loves it there because he's been trying to find it out for 3 years now.
Look. This is not an amazing FAU team.
Nope.
They're fine. They're fine.
Mm-hmm. They've basically been fine since that first year.
Yeah. They had the roll owls year,
Mm-hmm.
and then past that they've been fine.
Yeah.
They are what they are. But I don't think that UTSA is going to be able to move the ball on them.
No.
And I think that
Nope.
every time FAU has the ball, and especially throwing the ball, they're going to have a pretty sizable advantage. I like FAU minus 20. I hate to say that. This is
Yeah.
2 Texas teams that I'm predicting to win to lose by like multiple touchdowns. But I think that's the case. I like FAU minus 20. I just don't. I haven't seen. Whereas with UTEP, I've seen that spark, and and even with Rice, I've seen that spark of like, oh, okay, no, this is promising. I haven't seen that promise with UTSA, and I think that FAU still playing for something. I like FAU minus 20.
FAU has been held to under 30 points once since September 7th. And, give me FAU outright. The UTSA crowd's also dwindling,
Dude,
despite the fact that they're not playing terribly right now. Like, compared to earlier in the season, they've been fine. Southern Miss was a okay game. Like, they got beat, sure, but they were playing a better team. Old Dominion, they won. A&M, they did not look as bad as I thought they would. And, I mean, they haven't...
No, but the
It's
thing
been
is...
bad, but it has... earlier in the season, I thought this would be, like, catastrophically bad. And it's only been, like...
pretty bad.
Marginally bad.
Well, and that's the thing, is if you want to talk about the kind of stuff that's actually going to get Frank Wilson fired, like those crowd shots that they had when they were playing last week...
It's bad.
It's bad.
That was ugly. I mean, they had to keep things tight because they were showing a couple like on kickoffs, and you'd see it, and it just like scattered.
Mhm.
It's-
The Alamo Dome has some good tacos too. I don't know why people don't show up.
We go to Ashley Pickle for the next game.
Hey, Ashley Pickle needs to be running their marketing. It sounds
Yeah,
like.
really.
I'm just saying.
Get those tacos.
They're-
Get the word out.
Yeah,
They're,
really.
they're very good. Had some last year. Enjoyed them. Let's see. Up next, Kansas State at Texas Tech, 6 p.m. in Lubbock. Tech favored by 2.5 at home.
You want to talk about disrespectful lines?
Oh,
Yeah,
Now, Kansas State just pooped all over themselves against West Virginia last week. Just
Yeah.
a colossal pooping.
yeah.
It was horrifying.
That,
And And so the question is going to be, do you believe in Lubbock magic? Right? Because Kansas State's the better.
Ashley, pull it together.
He said colossal pooping. Like, that was I'm sorry, that was funny. That caught me off guard. Who says that? What kind of a term is that?
I'm a capital J journalist. I'm just reporting the news.
And you said colossal pooping.
just reporting the news.
Continue. Please move
Anyway,
on.
They were not good last week. But I still think Kansas State is probably the better team here. But they're basically saying that on a neutral site, this is a coin flip.
Yeah.
I find that hard to believe. The question is going to be, again, what do we get from Jet Duffy?
Mhm.
Like, if Jet Duffy comes out there and plays well, then they can do this. And Lubbock has been notoriously tough to play in this year. Go ask Oklahoma State. It's been tough. Am I going to take Tech?
I mean, put it this way: Tech needs to win out.
Tech needs to win out. Am I going to take Tech? I think I'm going to take Tech. I think that I'm going to hate myself for this. I'm actually switching my pick. I'm going to take Tech, and here's why.
Okay.
There's a key number in here, and you're not going to find it on any of your spreadsheets, you dorks.
Oh God.
You know where you're going to find it? In the description of this game. 6 p.m. Night game in Lubbock.
The tortillas.
Night game in Lubbock. That's what I'm banking on. I think Tech wins it. I think they
All right.
continue the downward spiral for Kansas State. I like Tech minus 2.5.
Yeah, no, I like Kansas State. I think that the first half was more indicative last week against TCU of what Tech probably is.
Mm-hmm.
They've been kind of flying by the seat of their pants for a couple weeks.
Mm-hmm.
But granted, West Virginia was a good win for them, and I guess that's the mutual mark you want to look at in this game.
Mhm.
Is like, oh, Kansas State,
Yeah.
whatever. But no, I think we've seen more consistent markings that Kansas State's a pretty good football team, as opposed to Texas Tech being a team that you can rely on week in, week out. So give me K-State. I think Kleinman's doing a solid job, and Tech, unfortunately, does not go bold this year.
You're probably right, but I think that Tech at night is a trouble spot.
Fair enough.
Speaking of trouble spots, what's next, Ashley?
Up next, Houston heading over to Tulsa, 6:30 p.m. Saturday. Tulsa favored by 3 at home.
So
This
if
is
you watch,
basically like, sorry, I just want to say this is
Go
basically
for
like
it,
the ghosts of Tulsa's terrible season coming to roost finally.
yeah,
So
it
anyway,
is.
go on.
So Tulsa has not been good this year, guys. Has not been good, but Houston, Vegas has pretty much given up on Houston. Like they basically said, nah, you're not winning a game for the rest of the year. Like, I'm sorry. Like, Houston's a better team than Tulsa. Do you disagree?
That looks like a face.
Here's the reason why I said what I did at the beginning. Look at Tulsa's losses outside of Navy.
No.
SMU,
Even with Navy. Navy's a good loss.
but it's 45-17. I mean,
Okay, fine.
At SMU, triple overtime.
Yep.
Cincinnati at Cincinnati by 11. Memphis missed field goal 42-41. And last week, 2 weeks ago, of course, then they beat UCF.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was finally. Tulsa has to be one of the most unlucky teams.
Maybe.
That's where I was going at. Whereas like they're saying they've played this murderer's row. SMU, Navy, Cincinnati, Memphis, Tulane, UCF, back to back to back to back to back. All right, now Houston. I'm not saying Houston's bad. They've played above their pay grade a lot of the time, especially in the first half. But they've put up a better fight for longer stretches than Houston has. Houston's problem is when it gets to the second half.
No, you cannot change your pick, Tepper.
I already did. He already talked me into it.
No. Houston's problem
No.
is, this is my point. I'm not making his point. This is my point.
Good.
Houston's
No.
problem is when it gets to the second half, they don't have the horse to compete.
Yeah.
Tulsa, they're competing for 60 minutes.
They fell apart in the second half last week against, who was it?
Memphis.
Memphis.
Yeah, it's what we expected.
Yeah.
But Tulsa's been there in all of these games, and that's why I think that line is the way it is. That's why I'm taking Tulsa. Because I just feel like last week they finally got the benefit of the doubt. They beat UCF.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God they didn't have another heartbreaking loss to a good team. I just think they kind of keep that going.
Mm-hmm. So Tulsa's not a good team. Let me just, I understand. I know what you're saying. Tulsa's, I don't think they're, I think that they are plucky.
Mm-hmm.
but I don't think they're good, if that makes sense. I think they
That's fine.
give everybody I think they give everybody trouble because they're plucky.
Mm-hmm. Why do you hate Grandview's Zach Smith?
That he knows what he did.
Okay.
That said, you made the most important point there in your second part, and the second part of my thing,
Mm-hmm.
which is Houston has basically run out of gas in the second half of every game for the past 3 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and for a team that plays a lot of close games like Tulsa, that is going to give them an opportunity to pull away. I like Tulsa -3 in this one. I think they're able to. I think especially at home. I think that they pull away from Houston. I would love to see Houston play 60 minutes. If Houston plays 60 minutes, they're the better team and they're going to win. But right now, the most recent data points we have show that they are not capable of playing 60 minutes, and they're going to fade in the second half of the third quarter and the fourth quarter.
Mm-hmm.
So, and finally, Ashley.
Last but not least, another Big 12 matchup. We've got TCU at Oklahoma, 7 o'clock p.m. on Saturday. OU favored by 19 at home.
Yeah.
That's a line.
This is tricky.
That's a tricky one.
This is tricky, and I'll tell you why I'm taking TCU in the points.
Okay.
I'm taking TCU in the points because I think that Baylor exposed something in Oklahoma last week that other teams can take advantage of, and most importantly, Gary Patterson would love to take advantage of. And that is, if you throw blitzes at Jalen Hurts, he does not know what to do.
That's fair.
And their offensive line has not been great.
Mm-hmm.
This is a team, and by the way, this is a team that they are it's not necessarily that they sack the quarterback a ton,
Mm-hmm.
but TCU gets a lot of pressure. TCU gets a lot of pressure, and I think they're going to this is going to go one of two ways, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is either going to be 63-10 and an
Right.
absolute butt kicking, or they're going to force 3 or 4 turnovers. TCU's going to force 3 or 4 turnovers, and this is going to be squeaky bum time in the fourth quarter.
Mhm.
And I'm inclined to believe it's the second part because I think that Baylor exposed something with the inability of OU to handle the blitz from a good defense.
Yeah.
That's what I think is going to happen. I think TCU keeps this in close. Wouldn't be surprised if Oklahoma won this game by like 14 or 17. But either way, that's a cover.
Mm-hmm.
I like TCU plus 19.
Mm-hmm.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
I don't know if I can say why you're wrong exactly, but I have a hunch that this game came a week too late for TCU.
You think this is the revenge? This is the revenge?
I think that was that was close against Baylor.
Mhm.
I was like, oh, I remember that. That was wild.
Let's
All
not do
right.
that again.
Yeah.
Let's not do that again. All right, this is better. Like then they
Yeah.
just kind of just
And
plow
it's in
through whoever
Norman.
they have,
Maybe.
and it's in Norman.
But
My only problem is the line.
yeah, 19.
19's a
I mean, you're
lot.
asking them to blow out TCU.
19's a lot.
And-
I don't think TCU's gotten blown out. I mean, granted, they haven't played anybody as good as Oklahoma this year.
Sure.
But I don't think. I mean, Iowa State
Their
kinda
biggest
blew-
loss of the year
Think about
it was Iowa State.
Yeah.
They lost by 25 at Iowa State. So if that's the data point that gives you trouble, then
But I mean, Max
certainly-
Duggan was a better quarterback than now
agree.
than he was then.
I agree. But everything else, I mean, they lost by 6 points to Baylor. They,
Now give me TCU to cover.
I'm telling you, I think they're
feel-
going to play close.
Right, I do feel like this game did come a week early, a week late. And Oklahoma saw what it was like against the blitz.
Mm-hmm.
And if TCU has something similar, I just feel like they'll do what Oklahoma did in the second half, which is just, all right, we're just going to either run the ball with Jalen Hurts or hit those short intermediate routes and just work our way down the field and control the game.
Well, and they could
So.
still. They could lose by 2 touchdowns and a field goal and still cover. So
Right.
that's a lot of points.
Also, if CeeDee Lamb's here, then
Yeah.
that just
Yeah.
blows everything out the water.
That's
So.
true. Anyway, those are my free money picks. I like App State minus 29 at home against Texas State. I like Georgia minus 13 at home against A&M. I like Baylor minus 5.5 at home against Texas. I like SMU plus 3.5 at Navy. I like North Texas minus 5.5 at Rice. I like UTEP plus 7 at New Mexico State. I like Florida Atlantic minus 20 at UTSA. I like Texas Tech minus 2.5 at home against Kansas State. # Lubbock at night. I like Tulsa minus 3 at home against Houston. And I like TCU plus 19 at Oklahoma.